When I wrote the book, I didn't want it to be just another self-help book. I've read a lot of self-help books, and my experience of self-help books is there's a concept that they give to you, and they repeat it, and they repeat it, and they repeat it, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, after about 30 pages, I'm done with the book, really. But, you know, I paid all this money, so I feel I have to read the book. And I read the book, and I could have stopped at 30 pages. So I didn't want to write that kind of book. I wanted to write a book where every section, every page had something. I also wanted to write it in a simple way. I wanted to deal with profound concepts, but I wanted to write it in a simple way where anyone could read it and understand and could grow in their lives. Years ago when I was doing therapy, when people would leave, I'd find that a lot of times they forgot what we talked about. And so then I decided, well, I'd write little short handouts about different concepts, whether it be depression or anxiety or boundaries or hurt feelings, lots of things. And I found out through time I had a file cabinet filled with these little handouts I was giving out. And people kept telling me, I got a folder of your stuff at home. And it's great stuff. And, you know, I get in trouble. I go back and read your handouts. And it's like, well, this is good. You got to write a book. And I said, oh, okay. And so that's how this book was born, out of those concepts. And so it's really things that I have found through time that really seem to work for people to create more joy in their lives. I also wanted the book to be a place where it wasn't feeling like someone was talking down to you, using a lot of dogma. But I wanted it to feel like we're having a conversation, kind of like you're in my living room right now, we're having this conversation. And the neat thing is people have told me that, you know, when I read this thing, it's like I felt like you were right there in front of me, talking to me, sharing with me. And we kind of went through this thing together. And in the process, I also share some of my own personal experiences. So it's like, I've gone through this, and I've learned this. Maybe you can learn from this experience as well. And so those are some of the reasons the reasons I wrote the book and my intention of how I wanted people to receive it. And the book is set up where you can read from the beginning and get a concept and build on another concept and another concept and another concept until you go to the final end, which deals with relationships, which is probably the most complex things we have to deal with. How do I have a healthy long-term relationship? That seems like a wonderful thing. We see it on movies, very simple, but in reality, in terms of us being here, that is not necessarily an easy thing. That's a very complex thing to do. It is very possible, I want to tell you, however, but you know, they don't teach us how to have a healthy, loving, long-term relationship in high school. I wish they did, by the way. I really wish they did. And maybe someday someone will pick this book up and teach us in high school. It'd be good. There's another way, or you can say, well, you know, I'm feeling depressed. What's depression? So you can go in here and look up that and view that. Or I'm feeling, you know, someone just made me feel uncomfortable, and I want to know about boundaries. So you can go read about boundaries. So you can read just one subject at a time if you'd like. It's also set up so there's little sections, so really you can read a section in about 5 or 7 minutes. So it's not something that you have to really spend a whole lot of time with. You can read a section, think about it, there's some exercises. You don't have to do the exercises if you don't want. You can go back and do them later, not do them ever, it doesn't matter. But read them. Somewhere in time it will, it's like planting a seed. Somewhere in time it'll grow into something that can be beautiful. So we're in the process of learning how to manage our thoughts, all of us. And we're in the process of learning how to manage our feelings. And the concepts you'll read in the keys are designed to help us to expand into our lives so we can experience and know what it's like to have a joy-filled life.